Let us pray. Come, Lord Jesus, come. Amen. Please be seated. I hope that's the battery or connection there. Dover, New Jersey. Please, someone is trying to break into my house. One of the teens is heard saying on the call. The frantic 911 call came at 1 in the afternoon on February the 13th. The girl's heart was beating fast, adrenaline pumping. The terrified 18-year-old girl told police at least 2 men broke into her home here on West Crystal Street in Randolph. "Oh my God, they're coming up," she said on the call. The men were in the house and getting closer. Her 16-year-old brother was upstairs hiding. She was in the laundry room, but desperately wanted to make sure her brother was okay. The 911 dispatcher says, "Okay, I want you to just stay on the phone with me until the officers say it's okay. I want you just to stay in that room too, okay?" The teen responds, "Okay, I promise I'll stay in the room. I just don't know. All I know is my brother is upstairs." The dispatcher says, No. I want you just to stay right where you are for your safety." And the teen says, I promise you, I won't." And then the dispatcher says, "My partner is actually on the line with your brother right now on the other phone. He's up in the bathroom right now." And the teenage girl says, "Oh my God, thank God, thank God." And she begins to cry. Well, I'm quite certain we have all been there. We've turned off the lights, gotten into bed, closed our eyes, and have just begun to enter that sweet spot of going to sleep, precious sleep, when we hear that sound. You know, that sound. Is it the ice maker or the air conditioner going on or off? And where is that darn cat? And maybe the house is creaking like it does sometimes, but that sound, well, it sounds different. We don't recognize it. Did we just hear it again? Where is it coming from? The kitchen, the living room, where is it? So now the sweet spot is beginning to fade. Shall I just ignore that unknown sound? There's probably nothing, right? But suppose I succumb to sleep only to awake with someone standing there in my room. How shall I protect myself? For gun owners, that's an easy answer. For non-gun owners, it's a different matter. So the heart beats faster. What if I wait to discover someone standing over me? I better get up and investigate that sound, whatever it is, so I can relax and then try to go to sleep. Years ago, my paternal grandfather heard a strange sound in his house. So thinking it to be a thief or some kind of intruder, he grabbed a shotgun he kept nearby. It was dark as he slowly stepped into the hall outside his bedroom, and there he saw it, a shadowy figure gliding toward him. Quickly he raised the shotgun, preparing to fire. No, then suddenly he saw it. It was his daughter sleepwalking. Fear. How afraid have we been? Or is being afraid a matter of entertainment for some of us? You know, there's certain movies which seem to specialize in making people afraid. Is it the adrenaline rush that they seek? The Jurassic Park movies starring Sam Neill can be scary. Sometimes when I'm channel surfing at night before going to bed, there will be one of the Jurassic Park movies on. Emily immediately insists that I change the channel. Not that I am particularly fond of those films. The horrific images of the dinosaurs get into her mind, and they are reluctant to leave. You know, those close-up shots of the humongous head of the T-Rex, head cocked to one side, a cavernous mouth, a flashing jagged teeth, bulging eyes glaring at you for its lunch. Perhaps it's more characteristic of the female mind than the male's that certain imagery stays with them longer, taunting and scaring. Yet who has not feared getting into the shower after watching the original Psycho movie with Anthony Perkins and Janet Leigh? You remember the movie? The flash of a stabbing knife, the watery blood swirling into the drain. What a formula for paranoia. Remember? And later when you showered, you kept your eyes open despite the burn of the water and soap. In the original film, Doom, the main character played by Kyle MacLachlan is put to the test by a member of the Bene Gesserit sisterhood, who also, these women have extraordinary psychic ability. It is a mind test to which MacLachlan's character, Paul Atreides, is subjected. And so with a deadly gum jabbar needle at his throat, Paul is forced to place his hand in a box where in excruciating pain, he sees his hand begin to smoke, then burst into flame, his skin sizzling. And if he removes his hand, the Bene Gesserit will plunge the gum jabbar into his throat, immediately killing him. And the sight of his hand broiling could not be more real nor less painful, but in fact it's not real. The flaming image has been induced by the special qualities of the box and the telepathy of the Bene Gesserit. And Paul controls himself by remembering and saying, "Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the mind killer." And fear, as we know, is more than the mind killer. It is the peace killer, the health killer, the life killer. It may even be a relationship killer. We take tranquilizers, drink alcohol, exercise, eat, and all manner of overindulgences to control our fear, our anxiety. On the whole, we don't really like being afraid. Being frightened by a scary movie is one thing. A positive test for cancer, a bounced check, a threat of divorce, a child with a 103-degree temperature, or a teenager in an automobile accident are another thing. In Luke's Gospel this morning, we heard Jesus say, "Do not be afraid." This is a phrase you hear several times in the Bible. And we might take comfort in Jesus' words, his apparent concern for our peace of mind, except that he then begins to tell stories of unexpectedness, such as a surprise visit from the boss or master, and worse, a thief in the night. Does Jesus really expect such stories to make us not afraid? And the image of the thief in the night is particularly discomforting. What is it that a thief does? Well, obviously, he steals that which is of value to us. Otherwise, we would not own it at all. We might give it to the thrift store. So why does Jesus provoke our anxiety and fear even more by using the image of a thief breaking into our house? Is he trying to scare us? Or is he just trying to give us an example of something unexpected happening? Well, I suspect both apply, but let's take a moment to look at the scary part, the part where something is being stolen from us. What are those some things which we value and hold on to tightly? There's our health, there's our financial well-being, there are our relationships, and there's our physical appearance, right? Apparently, while on a maternity leave, a woman brought into her workplace her new bundle of joy. She also had her 7-year-old son with her. Everyone gathered around the baby, and then the little 7-year-old boy said, "Mommy, can I have some money to buy a soda?" "What do you say, Billy?" she asked. And respectively, the boy replied, "You're thin and beautiful." And the woman reached into her purse and gave her son the money. And of course, our youthfulness, or the memory thereof, comedian George Burns once observed, "You know you're getting old when you stoop to tie your shoelaces and wonder what else you could do while you're down there." We would hate for any of these things, money, health, relationships, or the rest, to be unexpectedly stolen. Yet that is exactly what happens. Oh, sure, we might have been told that if we do not stop indulging in this or that, then it could hurt our health. Yet we did not expect heart trouble, nor did we expect some dreaded, perhaps fatal disease. You remember the joke I told you? Perhaps joke is the wrong word, several Sundays ago. A doctor said to his patient, "I have some bad news and some very bad news." And the patient said, "Well, why don't you go ahead and give me the bad news first?" And so the doctor replied, the lab results with your tests, the lab called with your test results, they said you have 24 hours to live. In shock, the patient exclaimed, 24 hours, that's terrible. What could be worse? What's the very bad news? And the doctor murmured, I've been trying to reach you since yesterday. We didn't expect bankruptcy, a failed marriage, a sick child, or an automobile accident, or a child who is always getting into trouble. We did not expect these things, yet life is fraught with unexpected events, unexpected frightening trouble. We did not expect to be robbed by this kind of thief who will turn up at any time, night or day. What are we to do? The lawyer opened the door of his BMW when suddenly a car came along and hit the door, ripping it off completely. And when the police arrived at the scene, the lawyer was complaining bitterly about the damage to his precious BMW. Officer, look what they've done to my Beamer, he whined. The officer said, you lawyers are so materialistic you make me sick. You're so worried about your stupid BMW that you didn't even notice that your left arm was ripped off. Oh my God, said the lawyer, finally noticing the bloody left shoulder where his arm once was. Where's my Rolex? Jesus tells us in this morning's gospel to sell your possessions and give alms, make purses for yourself that do not wear out, an unfailing treasure in heaven where no thief comes near and no moth destroys. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. And Jesus' words here to us should be no surprise. He's merely reminding us of the facts of life. The things of this world will be stolen from us in one way or another. Those things which we treasure, those things which we keep close to our hearts, well-being, health, family, finances, and friends, when any of these things which we value are stolen from us, and they will be, where will that leave us? 75-year-old San Clemente resident Marion Shirtliff had purchased an old Bible from a used bookstore in her neighborhood and noticed some folded sheets of yellow paper tucked into the pages of the Bible. And for 2 months, she did not pay the extra pages any attention. And when she finally took the time to remove the pages and unfolded them, what she saw made her shake. She said, I opened it up and instantly I saw my name on those pages. I recognized my handwriting. I hollered. I started crying. I was shaking. I had goosebumps. Shirtliff had found an old essay she had written when she was 10 years old to earn a Girl Scout merit badge. And even remarkable is that Shirtliff wrote that essay in her hometown of Covington, Kentucky, 2,000 miles away. For Shirtliff, a cancer survivor, the discovery has launched her into an investigation to find the previous owner of the Bible. She has a lot of questions for that person. How did it get here? I think, she said, there's got to be a tie to the person who kept this. Why would they keep it? And maybe it was sent to me for a reason. Maybe that person should be in my life. Jesus tells us this morning that you also must be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an unexpected hour. Like the thief, the Son of God, that is Jesus, will come at an unexpected hour. Is that unexpected hour a surprise, or is it a boo, as when someone jumps out from behind the door? Indeed, we might wonder if the Son of Man's coming is something like a surprise birthday party, which, feeling love, we greet with joy. Or is it something sinister like a boo, where there is a joke or a threat to our well-being, like the sound of a thief in our house? For some, the coming of the Son of Man will be experienced as a blessing, and for others, it will be experienced as judgment. Truthfully, when you think about it, judgment is a part of everyday life. If we understand judgment as that which causes us discomfort, confusion, loss, or pain, then judgment is a part of everyday life. And if we have a biblical understanding about this, then the fall of Adam and Eve found in Genesis is in part an explanation, and included as part of that explanation would be Deuteronomy 28 and Hebrews 12. You see, when Jesus shows up, when God shows up, when you see him, something happens. Whatever it is in our life that has been our cross to bear suddenly makes sense, suddenly begins to hurt less, and may even turn to joy. It is a difficult thing to explain, but when Jesus shows up, we are taken up. We're taken out of the tug and pull of our miseries and given a view from above, a view which communicates God's love, Jesus' love for us. This is a healing, restoring, redeeming experience. It is a perspective through the eyes of eternity which answers that why question which some plan to ask of God when they go to heaven. Heaven, eternity, isn't just for the dead, but for us even now. And in that respect, some of the why questions can and will be answered while we still inhabit these mortal bodies. I would suggest to you that Jesus is showing up is something of what Mary Shurtleff experienced when after 65 years she discovered her essay in that old Bible. You see, the thief, whether person or circumstances, thinks he or she has stolen from us. And indeed, in the here and now, that very much appears to be the truth. However, in eternity, that theft is transformed into a gift of God's blessing, despite all present misery and loss to the contrary. It is the philosopher's stone where lead has been turned into gold. The philosopher's stone, as some of you may know, is a legendary alchemical substance said to be capable of turning base metals like lead into gold or silver. It was also sometimes believed to be an elixir of life, useful for rejuvenation and possibly for achieving immortality. And for many centuries, as far as back as 300 AD, it was the most sought-after gold in Western alchemy. The philosopher's stone was the central symbol of the mystical terminology of alchemy, symbolizing perfection at its finest, enlightenment, and heavenly bliss. For us Christians, the philosopher's stone is no legend. It is the resurrection. It is Jesus turning water into wine, healing the sick, and transforming our lives. This is what happens when the Son of Man unexpectedly arrives. He turns the lead of our lives into gold. And we heard this in the Old Testament reading this morning. God turned the barren womb of Sarah into a fertile one that would birth a nation. And we're encouraged toward expecting transformation in the Hebrews reading this morning. Now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. But here's the tough part, the waiting. After something has been stolen from us, what are we to expect? When will Jesus come through for us? How long must we wait for him to do something about the situation? Whether Mary and Shurtleff had been waiting 65 years for God to show up, we do not know. Acute pain is one thing because it will pass. Chronic pain is another matter. It may not hurt as much, but a dull ache over a period of time, weeks, months, years, can wear us down, depress us, and cause us to lose hope and despair. And I suspect many of you know what I'm speaking of. And this may be a little harder to identify with if you are younger. If you're younger, you may not have especially known protracted suffering, but you will. I guarantee it. Regardless, the promise is there. Jesus, the Son of Man, will show up when we least expect him. When he does, he will change our lives. Pray that he comes sooner than later. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.